was defects. In order to find the root cause for these defects, a fishbone diagram was created. The major defects consist of wrinkles, recessed ends, and filters sticking together. For the first, the problem was with the plug wrap positioning. A simple mechanical adjustment would solve the problem. For the second and third, it has to do with the design of the nozzle. A new design, as suggested below, would solve the problem.
Also, team members studied the process of material handling in this company and what are the main problems that we are encountering in material handling. But before, I will explain what are the main process and tools that we use to handle and track our product. For this picture represents a manual forklift that will transport the product to the warehouse. Here, the second picture represents the warehouse that stores our product. And finally, the third picture represents a code created by the company that shows the due date, the quantity, and the type of material of each container or each product. However, during material handling, we found out three main problems, which are excess weighting, transporting, and pushing. As for excess weighting, we have roughly 4 hours unintended, which leads to stalling. As for transporting, it is roughly 50 trips per week, which leads to occupying employees that can be doing something else. And as for pushing, because of the heavy weight of pallet, which weighs around 132 kilograms, this leads to shoulder and back pains of employees and workers. So team members recommend the use and installation of multi-floor conveyor belt that will transport efficiently the product from the production line to the upper floor warehouse.
Okay, so after spending a lot of our time at the factory, there were some improvements that we would like to add, which are based on our own observations. To begin with, the three workers, they all spend the entire shift on their feet. So a sit-stand stool will help increase their efficiency and productivity. For the second, we have to understand that the mechanical engineer's office is located at the second floor. So every time a problem occurs, the operator of the machine has to scream his lungs out for the mechanical engineer to respond and help with the problem. So clearly, visual or auditory signals could help shorten this process and keep the mechanical engineer in contact with the defects and problems that occur at the facility. The third improvement is the ergonomic keyboard and mouse in order to have optimal hand and wrist positions for the secretary, especially in order to prevent future diseases.
Next, the management told us that they'll be buying a new machine, so we decided to do a line balancing for this new machine, or the different tasks that will be handled on this machine. They're listed over here, and the time was either estimated or calculated, and also are listed over here. Then we did a predecessor relationship, so we can see what. So we can know which operation is before the other. Then we decided. Then we inputted the data into the design tool. So we knew also that the cycle time was 5 minutes, because each carton has a cycle time of 1 minute, and each master case had 5 cartons. The result was shown here. The station number of workers was a number of 4, and for example, for station 1, we had task number 1, 3, and 5 assigned to it, and the total time of 3.25. Then we did a synchronized servicing for each operator, so we can see if he can manage more than one machine. For example, operator number 1 had a loading time and unloading of 3.35 and a machining running of 5 minutes, and for working time and the distance to travel between a machine and the other was 0.1 minute. As for his hourly cost wage, it's around $5 an hour, and the machine hourly cost of $20. per hour. As we can see here, the results shown, he can handle 2 machines at the total cost of 3.13, which is optimal. Then we did the new layout of the facility. As you can see, the 2 machines are, the 2 designs is optimal because it's space effective. If the management need to put a new machine, it can put it also. And if it is material handling effective, because if we added this crane that will be lifting the product at the end of line, it is also effective.
Okay, according to Mr. Fred Haden, the supervisor at this company, he provided to us a worksheet which represent the employee usual breaks and lunch breaks schedule. So we calculated the worker efficiency, which turned out to be 86%. This is an acceptable number due to the fact that each employee has a good and reasonable schedule. They have 3 breaks of 15 minutes and one lunch break of 30 minutes.
Then the team did a cost-benefit analysis on all the problems that we handled. Some of the problems are listed here, and we're gonna tackle one of the problems. For example, the one of the example about the lifting. Here, the employees are two for the task of the warehouse. The average hour wage is $5 per person. Here we see that for the past year we had a leg injury because material has fallen on his leg, and the year before we had 2 back strains. As for the options, as the cost of the options, we can see that the bag for option 1, the back belt had a reduced level of exposure and improves the comfort and fatigue. As for the option number 3, an ergonomic crane, it eliminates exposure to hazard and improves comfort and reduces fatigue. As for the benefits, we can see that it's roughly $40,000 for option 1 and option 2, and $68,000 for option 3. And for the payback period, the data was given to the management, and our analysis also was given to the management, so they can either improve it and do what we handed to them. Thank you. Any questions?